us. I will introduce them first. As our chair, we have Professor Sharfuddin sir with us. He is the patron of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, president of Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and chairman of Community Ophthalmology in Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University. It's our pleasure and honor to have with us as chief guest Professor Ava Hussain, madam. Thank you, madam, for coming here. And she is the chief patron of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, president-elect of Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology, advisor of Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and of course, director cum chief consultant of Ophthalmological Society Bangladesh Eye Hospital, OSB Eye Hospital. As a special guest, we have with us Professor Hosrat Ali sir, advisor of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, vice president, Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and president of Bangladesh Academy of Ophthalmologists. We have Professor Abdul Qadir sir with us. He is the advisor of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, Secretary General of Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and Professor of Cornea, National Institute of Ophthalmology and Hospital. Professor Mizanur Rahman sir is here. He's the advisor of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, president of Bangladesh Glaucoma Society, and member of our Young Ophthalmology Standing Committee. As speakers, we are proud to have with us Professor Shaukat Ara Shakrouli, madam. She is the professor of oculoplastics and ocular oncology at National Institute of Ophthalmology and Hospital, former treasurer of Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and she has many publications in both national and international journals. We also have with us Dr. Shams Mohammad Noman, Associate Professor of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University, Member Secretary of Bangladesh Ophthalmology Research Forum, and also he has also many publications in both national and international journals. Now it's my honor to introduce Dr. Sabyasachi Sengupta here, and we will be collaborating with his academy, and he's the head of Sengupta's Research Academy and also associate editor of Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, and has 85 papers in top-rated peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Ashraful Haq Hridoy, president of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, is also here. We have Dr. Bipul Kumar De Sarkar, General Secretary of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society. And I'm Dr. Mazibur Rahman Chaudhry, and I will be moderating the session. Thank you all for being with us today. And with the permission of the chair, Professor Sharfuddin sir, we would like to begin our presentations. Sir, can we go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So our first speaker today is Dr. Noman. So he will tell us that when he started his journey, about his research journey, we will hear from him, and hopefully the youngsters will get inspired from his talk. Dr. Noman, would you please share your screen? We can see your screen now.
Yes. Is it visible?
And, yes, it's visible and you're audible.
Thank you. So it's my honorable patrons, honorable presidents, honorable chief guests, and it's my pleasure to be here with Young Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, and I'm going to present on my research journey. Actually, it's an atypical presentation to encourage our juniors. So I've started my research actually with my dissertation in 2006. And the topic was outcome of probing for congenital nasolacrimal duct obstruction for different age groups. And I faced this lot of problem, like sample collection. It was very much basic for me, and I had no idea about the sample collection. And as those are babies, I faced some problem on examination, follow-up, compliance, and then the data analysis. I had no experience, and in my institution, I didn't have any support even. Then I got some result, and then I just gave my whole dissertation, and it was corrected and recorrected, and I just submitted. And I faced so much problems, like so much bothering within my routine works. What is the problem? We have to do all our research works within our total working period, and even we don't have any so much time to do research. So it looks like an extra load for a young ophthalmologist of when we will do research, because we have to read, we have to do work, and we have to do the surgery, we have to do chamber, and when we'll have we can do research. So it looks like an extra load. Had to give extra time at the end of the routine clinic, and sometimes when we start our research with, and it was already exhausted, and it was a nightmare, had a great fear to complete it, and lost interest in the first phase of my dissertation. Why? I didn't have any academic basic knowledge on research. It is my weak point. I didn't have any academic basic knowledge on research, didn't get any encouragement from the surroundings, always tried to escape research discussion. As it was very much tough to me, I had a tendency to escape any research discussion because I could not participate even, and did not get any interest on learning, and finally lost my interest. And then when I was working in a pediatric ophthalmology department in my very early ophthalmology life, I saw one very interesting case. A baby came to me with two eyes just closed, and this is her sleeping condition. He could not close. She could not close her eyes, and there are some patchy pigmentations and taut skin all over the face. And I got interest that what could be the disease actually, and I felt the baby and tried to understand such disease and discussed with dermatologists, and I had a tendency to diagnose the case, and I searched some literature for my own interest and other case report review, and gradually had an interest over that case, and I tried to diagnose this case, and I tried to manage that case. And the case was actually collodion baby, hereditary ichthyosis. And I made a case report with the dermatologist, and I ultimately I published it in a very reputed journal, and it was published. And ultimately, I was interested first with such a case report. Because I had a feeling over that baby. And I started another work when I shifted to the glaucoma clinic as a junior consultant. I started some works on angle recession glaucoma. And I saw some, at that time, I learned just gonioscopy and saw some lot of angle recession cases after trauma. And I collected 25 cases, learned gonioscopy, examined perfectly all parameters I noted, and I had a little interest over the study, and I did some good and regular follow-up documentation. I just made a result, and I started write up. That was not very good, because when I started writing up, and that was not very good, and I had a discussion with some senior colleagues from national and international level. They corrected, checked, and ultimately I submitted to our prestigious national conference, and that was my first encouragement, selected as Best Glaucoma Paper Award, Mobarik Ali Award. And I was really encouraged. This was that award I got with that paper. And he started submitting paper in the national and international conferences. First international scientific paper accepted in Apao Bhushan. The topics was outcome of the management of ICE syndrome. And when it was accepted, then I got stimulated, and I had a tendency to submit more papers in different conferences, and then papers was accepted in World Glaucoma Congress, World Ophthalmic Congress. Then it was become a regular one. And in the World Ophthalmic Congress, that was a history for me. I saw Robert Rich, a very renowned glaucoma specialist. He showed a video on trabeculectomy with collagen implantation. And I thought, it is possible in Bangladesh too. I started searching about the vendor of collagen implant, and I started working on it. And I did in my institution 55 cases of collagen implantation with trabeculectomy surgery. And I got a good result over some non-complicated cases. thesis and made an article on it and submitted in our local conference, very prestigious local conference, Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh conference, but was not nominated for the award due to lack of lot of informations. In the next year, I modified the analysis and tried to overcome the shortcomings with the discussion from the seniors and resubmitted here and selected as best scientific paper and was selected for the prestigious Motin Gold Medal next year. I'm really encouraged with that gold medal. That was the best scientific paper award. And achievement causes the encouragement, that encouragement causing the stimulation to achieve more. So I published the article in the World Journal of Ophthalmology and Vision Research. They have accepted my article. And in the next year, I got Professor A.Q.S.M. Harun Memorial Award for the article on management challenges in the ICS syndrome. And I was more encouraged, I was more stimulated to do more research and published in the journal, International Journal of Ophthalmic Pathology. And I have been invited as an invited speaker in the SARC Academy of Ophthalmology, Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology, World Ophthalmic Congress, and All India Ophthalmological Society conferences. That was a great pleasure for me, and that was a great stimulation for me. And I have submitted one journal in the APAO Journal after 3 correction. It has been published. And also my journal was published in the Journal of Clinical and Experimental Ophthalmology also. So why the people are not interested? What I have already told, because preliminary beginners, it looks tough, time consuming, extra work within workload. Analytical support is very minimum in different institutions, lack of manpower, lack of guidance, lack of encouragement, and some experts express it difficult. Some seniors, we are made difficult to it to the juniors. So, and also obviously lack of fund. So my recommendation, how we can overcome this, the practicing methodical research, what we are doing, you have to make it perfect. Whether it is a case report, we have to make a good documentation, we have to publish it, we have to make a discussion with the seniors, and we can make a good write-up. Good guidance is very much important. I am requesting seniors to guide the juniors, and I am requesting juniors try to take the guidance from the seniors. A research center in all academic institutions. It is very much important to start a research center, separate research centers, research timing, special research timing for the all consultants. One day research timing is very much important in what is established in the different academic institutions in India, in the Western countries also. Publications of an in-depth journal, and we have to do a lot of research workshops like this research workshop. I'm really glad, I'm really proud of you, Young Ophthalmological Society. You are doing such a great job. International research collaboration is very much important, like this conference, like thanks, Dr. Sengupta. Manpower development, this is also important, because I cannot do all my works, because I have to do an IT person, I have to do a statistician, I have to accommodate a statistician within my research institution. And it is very much important to make a research grant from the researcher. This is very much important, because some researchers, community-based research, and these are very much expensive. So I want to share one video about when actually
Thank you so much, Dr. Nowan. Your talk was definitely inspiring, and I hope that the youngsters will obviously get inspired to do more and more research. Now we will move on to the next speaker, and Professor Mili Madam is here. So she will tell us that why choose research and what is the importance, what is the impact of research for our future. Mili Madam, we can see your screen. Madam, will you please start?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society and Sengupta Research Academy for inviting me to give a talk. So my topic is why choose research, importance for future. I will be talking it in very briefly because time is not much. So what is research? If you first think about that is, there is a definition that is scientific process. It is a scientific process of generating a new horizon of knowledge. The knowledge is new, what we will be generating. and through the systemic and orderly collection, organization, and analysis of information. So uh, we'll be generating and collecting and generating information which is new, which in a systemic and scientific way. So I'm going directly to my topic, why research in ophthalmology. As we are ophthalmologists, we'll be talking on research in ophthalmology. So there are a few points. So first point, it contributes to the body of scientific knowledge about diseases of the eye and provides clues to their likely etiological pathways, which may not emerge from laboratory research or observation in the clinic. So we have knowledge and we want to add some more to that scientific knowledge about the disease of the eye. So that is one thing. The second point is contributes to the public health approach to blindness prevention by identifying the magnitude. If we don't know the magnitude of the problem, how can we address, how can we plan for prevention of blindness? So that is important thing. Identifying the magnitude of the problem and describing the main causes and distribution of the eye diseases that result in impairment and disability. We need to know how big the problem is and who are affected. That is, we need to do cross-sectional study for this kind of information. The number 3 also contributes to blindness prevention through understanding and the determinants of disease in human population. Establishing an association between exposure to a risk factor or causative agent and the presence or absence of disease requires an analytical study design. That means if you want to see what causes the disease of interest or problem of interest, that is, we need to find out the risk factor or causes, and for that we know that we do case control studies or cohort studies mainly. It evaluates preventive measures, treatments, or other interventions to reduce the impact of vision loss by conducting clinical trials. So the clinical trials are very much important to compare the existing treatment with the new treatment, or to compare two different type or three different type of treatments or some surgical interventions to a treatment. So that is why we do clinical trials. So we have to have a very good understanding about why we do research in ophthalmology. So these are the points, very important points which I have discussed now. So there are some steps to research, to start a research. Think about that. Today, we'll be starting a research. We are planning to do a research. So what are the steps to start a research? Identify a problem or issue. In the picture, this man, he has gone mad. He's thinking, how can I identify a research problem? And he has gone mad. So the problem should be like that. It will get you mad. And you can't sleep. If your dreams don't scare you, they are too small. So your problem it should get you out of sleep. So you will think, okay, I have to find this, why this is happening. And this problem, it could be, you can find it in your practice. Once you are doing with patients, this problem may come to your mind. Why this is happening? So let me find out the cause. Or maybe you go to the different international conferences, or you go to the journals and you find that this is happening in other countries. Why not? Why not we find this in Bangladesh? Because if we find something related to Bangladesh, that will help us, Bangladeshi populations and Bangladesh community. So this is very important to think in context of your country. And that is in context of Bangladesh. So once you have decided that this is the problem I want to explore, and you have decided that this issue is important to find some information about that, then you need to have some evidence. Why I will be doing that? Why I am going to look for this problem? So for that you have to gather. When I was listening to Noman, he had no experience. So he was haphazard in his first research. So you have to, now we are giving you some information. So you have to have basic knowledge about that disease or that problem, and uh, about that, what treatment available, what are the internationally now, what treatment is going on, how they are treating. So you have to have that knowledge, basic knowledge about that thing. And then you go through the relevant studies. That look for relevant studies in Bangladeshi, by the Bangladeshi researchers. You can look for like Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, Bangladesh Academy of Ophthalmology, Journal of Ophthalmology. There are different societies. They have their own publications. So you go through those and you find what's going on in Bangladesh. Then you look for the neighboring countries related to Bangladeshi population, and then international, other European or Western publications. And now everything is in a fingertip, our fingertip. Just you press and everything comes to your in front of you. Net search is so important. So you can have all your information by net search, and it doesn't. When we did our studies initially, it was very hard. We had to go to the benchmark. We have to apply for articles, then we got them after 1 month, then we went through the research, literature search, but now it's very easy. So after all these, an extensive literature review on your topic, then you print them, you maintain a file, you write down in your own notebook, in your own words. So you prepare, you get a very wide idea about what you are going to do. So after this, you have to, once you have decided on your topic, your subject, now you have to go and your literature review and background study. Now you have to do the rationale of the study. Why you are doing that thing? I find always when we take the exam for thesis or dissertation, we find that very clumsy thinking. So you have to think why we are doing this study. Why we are undertaking this study. That is, you have to think maybe it was inadequate information you had related to Bangladeshi population or internationally, or those were not fit in Bangladesh population. So you want to see whether how can you improve you can gather more information. So you frame it, rationale of the study, and you have to do it very nicely. Then research question and hypothesis. I'm not going to in deep with that. And then you have to formulate the objective. Objectives will be your title, and objective should be what you want to see, what parameters, what variables you want to see. You have to write it and go through it with your supervisor or the person, your team. Then you do it properly. After your objectives are done, that is very important thing. And then go to you formulate the research methodology, which will be giving addressing your objectives and your title. So once you are done with this research methodology is the most important part of your research. So that is study design. We know that there are many types of research, mainly that cross-sectional study, which gives you the answer of how big the problem is. That means the prevalence. That is also prevalence by age, gender, locality, occupation, race, etc. That is how big the problem is. That gives the answer. Cross-sectional study. Then case control study and cohort study, they look at the risk factors. Case control study is looking back. It is a retrospective study. And cohort study is looking forward and is prospective study. And case control study is the recall bias, is very big issue. And in cohort study, dropout, some people may die. It is a long, like 5 years, 10 years. We have to follow the sample, case and control. Not case and control. In case control study, we have at the beginning, there are disease person. But in cohort study, at the beginning, all are disease-free. Then there are two groups. We follow, one are exposed to the risk factor we want to study, and others are not. So at the end of the day, we see how many of the what percentage of the person in the non-exposed and exposed are become diseased. So that is the way of looking in case control and cohort study. And randomized control trial, I have talked about that. And operational research, how to deliver a service in best possible ways. That is operational research. That is a big issue, and it is in briefly. And there are other studies, observational studies, experimental studies, and so on. So study design is important. It depends on what objectives you want to see. And on that basis, you design. Study setting, time frame is very important, and place or where you want to do the study. Study subject, who are your target population? You have to define them. Sample, who will be your sample? Then sampling technique, there is many randomized, non-randomized, purposely, probable, non-probable, different type of sampling technique, multi-stage sampling technique. So you have to choose which one is best for your study. Inclusion and exclusion criteria, you have to spell out very nicely before you start your study. Inclusion and exclusion criteria. You have to define the control. If there are two groups, you are taking, you have to define the groups. What interventions you have to write properly, and you have to know about the interventions, what you are going to do, and outcome variables. What will be the outcome variables? And you have to define that also. So after that, the data collection procedure, we never give much attention to this. Instruments, we have to calibrate the instruments, and we have to think about if there are 3 or 4 researchers, so we have to reduce the intra-researcher or observer bias, and we have to prepare the data sheet with minimum appropriate collection of data. Too many variables or things shouldn't be collected. Then operational definitions, we have to spell out all the definitions properly, and it should be maintained throughout the research, and we can't change it in the middle of a research. Work plan, time frame should be there. Quality assurance and ethical clearance. We have to take the ethical clearance before we start the study from a recognized body. And data analysis, we have to mention the software and their version, and what are the tests we should do, and how we'll be going to do the analysis in our research methodology. And after that, this is result. We have to put it in a nice table form or diagram. How we want to do, we have to do it in a very standard way. It is not like that, what I want to do that. No, it should be in a standard way. If there is any limitation, we should mention that, and the conclusion will be in a 1 paragraph. We should write the conclusion and or 1 page, and with appropriate recommendation from the result of our study. Reference in an appendix is very important. So this is all about why choose ophthalmology and how we can go through that. And what is important for future, this research? Why? Because we need to have, only doing research, we can have the information regarding eye problem and diseases in context to Bangladesh or globally. And this information will create knowledge about our country, our problem, and the treatment, what we are giving, how good it is. And after we have the knowledge, this knowledge, how can we use? We can develop protocols for eye diseases. We can be the pioneer in the region to develop an appropriate treatment protocol and effective planning of eye care. What we see is the tip of iceberg, the problem tip of the iceberg. But because we see it in our hospital or in the practice, but there is a big chunk of ice under the water. We don't know about that. We have to explore that, and we have to plan, effective planning of eye care for the community and for the country. And that could be available, affordable, accessible, appropriate, and acceptable for the community, by the community. And we have to have it. Then after we have this information with the researchers, and we can have a realistic eye care delivery system development in Bangladesh, which will be standard. And with all these things, with information, knowledge, appropriate treatment protocol, effective eye care planning, realistic eye care delivery system, improvement of the eye care service, that is what we want. This is not, I want to do a research, I will do that. No, I have to have in my mind, we want to improve the eye care services. We have to utilize our data in improvement of the eye care service. This is the importance for future. So, in conclusion, I want to say, like Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it's done. So we have to, young ophthalmologists, nothing is unachievable. Nothing is unachievable. Start thinking and explore ophthalmology. And the best time to start is now, today. Just start brainstorming. And great things never come from comfort zone. We have to come out of our comfort zone, and we have to come out and think out of the box. And then can we contribute in the research and in the improvement of eye care in Bangladesh. And my best wishes to the young ophthalmologists, and thank you, Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society and Sen Gupta Research Academy for organizing this, and hope good things will come up from this webinar. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you so much, madam. And that was very important, that we must come out of our comfort zone if we want to achieve something extra. Thank you for your talk, madam. Now we will move on to our next presentation. I would like to invite Dr. Sen Gupta to give his talk on biostatistics made easy.
Yes, very good evening to everyone. I hope you're able to see my screen and you're able to hear me now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much to the Bangladeshi Young Ophthalmology Society for collaborating with Sen Gupta Research Academy and giving me this chance to come and share some of my thoughts with you. And so I've been involved with clinical research in India for about a decade now, and I started early, like Dr. Millie has already told us, and I'm so impressed with all of the two presentations before me. And just a second.
Yeah, you need to share your screen again.
Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah. Just till my screen comes up, I'll just brief you about what we've been doing. So so first of all, thanks so much to Dr. Ashraful for collaborating with me and communicating regularly with me. And I think what we are coming up with is something which will benefit a lot of young and old ophthalmologists in Bangladesh. I think the time is absolutely ripe because you have a lot of data with you, and there is a need, all of us, I see so much of interest from all of you. So I think the time is really ripe. And as Dr. Millie has already told us, the time is now. So you should really pretty much think about starting. And before I actually go to my presentation, I would actually just like to say that we are all ophthalmic surgeons, and it's research is really like about learning surgery. It's when we start surgery, you don't directly go in and put in the IOL, isn't it? What we do is we do a peritomy, we do a proper tunnel if you're doing an SICS or a clear corneal incision. Then you do a rexis, then you do proper hydrodissection. And after the proper phaco, then you put in the lens, and you have a great result. But any problem in any one of these steps can land you up in a lot of trouble. So if you have a premature entry, pretty much everything can go downhill. All of us are, in the learning phases almost throughout our life. So, doing research without having proper basic knowledge is something like that. It's like publishing a paper without knowing how to do it the right way is like putting an IOL before removing the cataract. It's almost like that. So, I think it's very important. And from all the previous talks, you've seen, sort of the trials and tribulations when you don't have the right amount of training. So Dr. Noman, his talk was really inspirational in terms of how he overcame all of those by himself. But you actually have the opportunity of some world-class training right here with you. So my specialty really is biostatistics. I think I can simplify it a little bit for you. Among all these steps of in that Dr. Mili has already taken us through all of these steps, right? From the ideation to seeing if anything has been done. If not, how I can do it, how I can plan my study, how I can sort of analyze my data, and then how I can write and publish it. So through the entire steps, biostatistics, right, sits right in the center of the whole sort of process. So we need to know about this, but then a lot of people are afraid about it. So I thought I'll try and make it a little bit easier. The statistics is the science of collecting data, describing data, analyzing data, interpreting and drawing conclusions from data, and predicting future events. I think these are it's pretty easy to understand what this entire thing details. And everybody is talking about statistics, not only in medicine, but people are talking about big data, data analytics, and everybody is Facebook and Google, and everybody really wants to get into healthcare, right? Google is doing so much work on artificial intelligence, and this is really coming in a big way. And what I have not put here is the truth really lies between perception and fact, right? Fact cannot be refuted, and perception is something that we are being shown by media or by many different things, but truth somewhere lies in between all this whole spectrum. And statistics is the only thing which can help you get closest to the truth, whether this is significantly different from that or not. Unless there were statistics, we would never know that cigarette smoking causes cancer, or that asbestos is carcinogenic, or so many of these that this drug works and that drug doesn't work. You're seeing so much data coming in about remdesivir and tocilizumab and so many other things for COVID-19, but then whether it really works or not, whether that is true, is only by statistics. So it's important to understand statistics. Some basic terminologies that I've already alluded to. First is data. Data simply means observations that come from an experiment or a research. Anything that you do, what you're going to get out of it is data. A variable means each set of observations in the data set, or in very simple terminology, every column in the Excel sheet is a variable. For example, age or gender or BCVA or OCT thickness or the number of injections, etc. Each one of these is a variable. And there are basically two, variables can be classified in two basic types. Why we need to classify and what is the importance of this classification, you will understand as we go through the presentation. But variables can be either continuous or categorical, and categorical can be either binomial, ordinal, or multinomial. Variables can also be independent or dependent. The dependent variable, the main important in a study, is called the primary outcome variable, right? It's so Dr. Mili was talking about you need to understand what you're exactly studying. So you need to zero in on what you're studying and then describe it in terms of a primary outcome variable. So continuous variables are also called quantitative variables. Variable that can take on many different values in theory, and any variable from the lowest to the highest points on the measurement scale. So, all of these continuous variables will have a unit, for example, age in years, BCVA in logMAR, IOP in millimeters of mercury, retinal nerve fiber thickness or central foveal thickness in microns. So, variables can be continuous, and like I said, they can be categorical. Categorical are called qualitative variables. These are grouped according to some common properties, and number of variables are recorded. And categorical variable can have only a limited number of values. So for example, gender can really be male or female. Success can be yes or no. Types of macular hole closures, type 1 or type 2. Types of CNVMs, it's like classic or occult. Types of injections, either any one of these. Or type of injury, either closed globe or open globe, right? So categorical variables can be again binomial, ordinal, or multinomial, where binomial is only two outcomes, like a yes or a no. Ordinal and multinomial is more than two possibilities. If they are in an order, like say a diabetic retinopathy grading scale, it is ordinal. If it is not in order, it's called multinomial. Right. So once you know variables are basically of two types, we need to understand how to describe them and then how to analyze them. Right. So first is describing a variable. So we are only talking about one variable at a time here. When we talk about descriptive statistics, it's just one variable, right? It could be either age or gender or whatever that may be. So a continuous variable is described in terms of measures of central tendency and measures of spread. The measure of central tendency could either be mean, median, or mode. And measure of spread is range, interquartile range, variation, and standard deviations. Right. So we've heard about these terminologies, but these are strictly restricted to continuous variables. The rule is, one measure of central tendency should be accompanied by one measure of spread. That is, mean is always presented with standard deviation. Right. If you read a paper and there is only mean and there is no standard deviation, even in the abstract, you should think about doubting that. And median should always be presented with interquartile range, and range is basically the minimum or the maximum. So from minimum to maximum. So you say the mean age was say 35 plus or minus 3 years, and it varied from say 15 to say 52 or something like that. So this is how in one sentence you can present the descriptives from a continuous variable. The best way to graphically represent this is by a box and whisker plot. And extreme values can be clearly identified with these plots. These are called outliers. I'll give you a quick example. Now, this is how we are talking about continuous variables here. So this is a box and whisker plot. This is the best way to graphically represent a continuous variable. So the box in the center is the box in whisker plots. That center one box. The center line is called the 50th percentile or the median value. The upper and lower end of the box is the 25th and the 75th percentile. The upper and lower bound are the more extreme values, and anything beyond that, that is almost the 90th percentile and the 10th percentile, anything beyond that are called outliers. So they are extreme values and they can really play havoc with all your data. So you should be aware of how many outliers are there. For example, if it's a pediatric study and somebody has written 80 instead of age 8, somebody writes 80, that certainly becomes an outlier, right? So if you include that 80, your mean age becomes something like 25. If you drop that outlier or you change it from 80 to 8, your mean age suddenly becomes 15. Right? So overall, it's very important to understand whether there are outliers or not. So continuous variables are described in terms of mean with standard deviation, median with interquartile range, overall range, and they are represented as outliers. And they are clearly seen with box and whisker plots. And categorical variables, it's very simple. They are expressed in terms of percentages or proportions. It's just, like for example, percentage of subjects with more than 15 letter gain in vision. We see so many of these clinical trials nowadays who talk about these kind of, this kind of variables. So, any number with a percentage is a categorical variable. Say percentage of patients with mild, moderate, or severe NPDR in a study population, percentage of males versus females in a study population. Very simple, right? So these are all categorical variables. And they're very clearly, it's best to represent them in terms of bar diagrams. So this is a complicated study which looked at, the causes for in a population over 15-year period, right? So the commonest cause was retinoblastoma, the others were, melanoma and so on. But then if you can see, this is the, these are tertiles. So this is basically first 5 years, second 5 years, and third 5 years. So in one graph, you can really see almost the entire study of 15 years of over 270 patients that were enucleated at a particular institution. In one graph, you can pretty much understand everything there. So again, continuous variables are, described in terms of mean, median, range, box and whisker plots, and categorical are in terms of in terms of proportions, and they are shown as bar diagrams. Now, so this descriptive statistics is basically talking about one variable at a time, right? We were only talking about age, or we were only talking about, say, incidence of diabetic retinopathy. Now, when you have more than one variable, because obviously you are going to measure so many variables, and they're all going to interact with each other, right? One increases, the other is going to decrease, so something like that. So there are three basic types of analytic statistics. The first is the difference between variables. Second is correlations, and third are associations. So we'll take a quick look about these. So you've already heard about these, but this is just going to give you some perspective. So an analysis based on the outcome variable, right? So you have to first understand whether this outcome variable is a continuous or a categorical variable. Say you're looking at differences between groups, say one group gets drug A and the other group gets drug B. Now we want to see whether, whether there is a significant difference in, say, reduction in central macular thickness. So you understand first whether the outcome measure is a continuous or a categorical variable. If it's a continuous variable and it's normally distributed, you use the student t-test. If it's not normally distributed, you use the Wilcoxon-Rank sum test. Now this is for continuous variables. When you talk about categorical variables, a blanket is that we use the chi-square test. So this is how we find differences between variables. Just a quick example from our daily lives. Say there's a paper which talks about, or your study talks about, difference in the mean OCT thickness in eyes with DME treated with Avastin versus IVTA. Right. So here the dependent or the outcome variable is OCT thickness, isn't it? That is what you are actually trying to study. Now OCT thickness is in terms of microns, and it can vary from anywhere between, say, say from 200 to say 500, 600. So it is a continuous variable. When you have this, so you are measuring OCT thickness, which is a continuous variable across two groups. So here you will use either the student t-test or the Wilcoxon-Rank sum test based on the normality of distribution. Now, when you have more than two groups, that is very common to have more than two groups in so many of these studies nowadays. When there are more than two groups, you use the ANOVA test, right? So when it's a continuous variable, that is your outcome, and you have only two groups, you use the student t-test or the Wilcoxon-Rank sum test. If there are more than two groups, you use the ANOVA. And again, the blanket for categorical variables is the chi-square, or a small modification that is called the Fisher exact test. Right. So this is basically the overall quick overview of what the test that we use for finding differences between variables. So after differences, we come to correlations. So, first thing is that, remember, correlations does not imply causation. It suggests whether one variable is dependent on the other and the direction of dependence, and it is, represented by Pearson's correlation coefficient. Right. So correlation coefficient ranges from -1 to +1, and closer to 0 suggests no correlation. That is, variables are independent of each other. Closer to +1 suggests that if one increases, the other also increases. And closer to -1 suggests if one increases, the other actually keeps decreasing. So that is correlations. It can be graphically represented by a two-way scatter plot, and you can draw lines to clearly show relations between between these variables. So second, these was correlations, and the third and most important that we use, and the ones which really give us a lot of information, are called association between variables. So association, the question to ask here is, can a particular variable or set of variables predict the value? Simple example in our daily practices is the SRK formula, where IOL power is a constant, -0.9, K -2.5 L, where K is the keratometry reading and L is the axial length. Now this formula predicts intraocular pressure, intraocular lens power accurately based on the K and the L values, isn't it? So if you know the K and the L, you know the power of the IOL to be put. This is an example of a regression formula. So this is done using linear regression analysis. Right? So regression helps to determine the value of one variable when the value of other variables are known, right? And so it's important to understand the concept of adjustment and confounders. That is because when many independent variable influence the value of a dependent variable, which are the associations which are real and which are spurious, is something which regression helps us understand, right? So simple example is, say, patient has had cataract surgery and they have developed pseudophakic macular edema or cystoid macular edema. We know that diabetes definitely plays havoc in this relation. But then, what if all those who had macular edema were diabetics, isn't it? So it's really diabetic macular edema and possibly not pseudophakic macular edema. So that presence of diabetes is the confounder here, isn't it? So that is basically altering the relationship between cataract surgery and macular edema. So those are out, those are called confounders. So regression analysis helps us adjust for those confounders. There are basically two types generally when we talk about regression. One is a univariate regression. The word univariate, uni is one, that is one independent and one dependent variable. So no adjustment is needed here. So it's just one variable at a time. And then multivariable regression is that more than one independent and one dependent. That is, there is adjustment needed here. So like I said, what happens to central macular thickness after cataract surgery? Given that we have diabetics, and given that there were some with diabetic retinopathy and things like that. So there are many variables which are influencing the final outcome, that is central macular thickness, right? And the primary independent variable that we want to study is cataract surgery. But then those confounders are diabetic status, presence of DR, etc. So those are all confounders. They can be adjusted for, and it's possible when you do a multivariable regression. So again, based on the outcome measure, whether it's a continuous or a categorical variable, we use the type of regression. If it's a continuous variable, we use linear regression. If it's a categorical variable, we use logistic regression. Outcomes are in terms of odds ratios, which you must have heard or seen in many papers. If it's counts data, there's lots of this coming up now with lots of trackers that we use for running and count our steps and heart rates and other things. So counts, if the outcome measure is a counts data, we use Poisson regression. And then survival data is the one where time is of essence, or time is important. So the commonest place where we use survival data are glaucoma surgeries, where we talk about failure rates and we use survival analysis, where Cox proportional hazards are used. Also, of course, survival, as the name suggests, so any oncology study is all based on survival analysis. So this is the kind of regressions that we use, again based on the outcome variable, right? So if you understand, the first step to understand is what is the variable like? Is it a continuous or a categorical variable? If you see through the lecture, if you understand whether it's a continuous or a categorical variable, you will be able to choose the tests of significance or the types of regressions that you want to do, right? So when just one quick slide on logistic regression, because that is the commonest type of regression that you will be using and seeing in published literature. So it is used when outcome variable is categorical and binomial. It is based on the theory of likelihood ratios, and outcomes are in terms of odds ratios. And this is completely different from risk ratios. So you can if you enroll for the lectures, you will have an idea about how to interpret these things. But you can of course Google also. But odds ratios are different from risk ratios. So the basic rule is that if there is any missing data, then the whole row, that is the entire observation regarding a patient, is dropped from a regression analysis. So always check the n, or you may have a sample size of 300, but the regression analysis may be based only on 30 or 40, because a lot of missing data may be there. So it's important for us to understand that when we are adjusting or using regression, it may actually, the sample size may be lower than the actual sample. So take home message is that determine the type of each variable, then do descriptive statistics, that is describe the variable well. So think about finding differences, finding correlations, and then using regressions, and then write your results, text, tables, and graphs. So that is a nutshell of how we do biostatistics, and I hope I have simplified it as much as I can. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take questions now or later.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sengupta. I think we are going to take the questions later, because there will be many questions. And one thing, what you said before you started, that we have to take baby steps. I think only then because we didn't give in the IOL first. So let's all take our baby steps and get into research. So before we go further, I would like to invite Dr. Ashraful Haq, President of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society. So to let us know that we have a quiz going on for the last 10 days. So why did we have that quiz? And also the importance and aim of this workshop. Dr. Ashraf?
Thank you, Dr. Maziba. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. Thank you. I must say welcome to all the participants to today's workshop and this quiz result announcement webinar. So from the official establishment of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society from the 17th of the September 2020, we always aim that we will be the society which will not create any confusion among others. We will be the society which will create the platform for all the young ophthalmologists to work together. And for every day in these 2 months, we are working how we can work with all the young ophthalmologists and how we can minimize the conflict and how we can minimize the confusion among others. So I must give thanks Dr. Sabyasachi Sengupta for coming up his wonderful idea about the quiz. That quiz gives us the lots of opportunity to give the better bonding of the ophthalmologists, because when we, I think this kinds of quiz is very new in Bangladesh, but the Young Ophthalmology Society of India has given this quiz also. And in Bangladesh, what we saw that after giving the quiz, around more than 100 people has entered in the quiz area, and 60 people have registered officially, but only 40 has submitted the official quizzes. That shows that yes, we have lots of interest for the research work. We want to do the research work, but we have little bit confusion, little bit lack of confidence maybe. That's why we did not participate full. And I believe this quiz competition has shown us some path that our ophthalmologist can also work with research, and Dr. Shobboshachi is with us always here with our great mentors like Professor Mili, Dr. Noman, Professor Sharfuddin sir, Professor Abha madam, Professor Kader sir, and also the mentors who are not with us right now. With them, our young ophthalmologist can start the research work. That was the aim of the quiz, that we want to encourage to participate in the research program. And this webinar, about today's webinar, we had Professor Mili and Professor Dr. Noman with us. Their talk was basically to encourage the juniors to start their research work. And Dr. Shobboshachi, from now on, he will be with us. He will be with Bangladesh Young Ophthalmologist Society to give any answer of the research related questions and to guide the ophthalmologists who want to do research work. That is basically the concept of this workshop and this quiz competition. And I must thank Professor Abha Hossain madam and Professor Sharfuddin Ahmed sir for their guidance to us and for their support to us. And hopefully with you and with our advisors and with our senior teachers, we will do and perform the aim why Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society has formed. Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society has formed under your umbrella, under your permission, and under your guidance. So our foreign guests are here, and they will be with us also with you. And I must congratulate the winners at advance, and hopefully the winners, the result of the quiz competition will be declared later. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And we can see in the panel that we are joined by the top scorers of the Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society members. So I welcome all of you here. And soon Professor Abha madam will declare the winners of the quiz. Before that, I will go to our guest of honor. So I would like to invite Professor Mizanur Rahman sir to say a few words about importance of research among the youngsters. Mizan sir, would you please unmute yourself?
Thank you, Dr. Maziba. And I must give thanks Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society and also SRA, Shobboshachi Sengupta Research Academy, with the collaboration of SRA, Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, under the guidance of our Chief Patron, Professor Abha Hossain, and Patron, Professor M.D. Sharfuddin Ahmed, nicely organized a quiz competition and today's webinar. Actually, for young ophthalmologists, the research activities is very important. Without the research activities, career cannot be built up. And Dr. Shams Mohammad Noman, he nicely mentioned initially how the young ophthalmologist face the problems and how we can overcome these problems. And Dr. Shabudara Shakur and Dr. Shobboshachi, they have details describe the materials and the systems, how the research activities can be conducted. So I think it's a very nice program, and Bangladesh Young Ophthalmologist within this very short time, under the guidance of our patron and advisor, they are doing very well. And I hope that in future days, with the help of our seniors, our teachers, our patrons, Professor Abha madam and Professor Sharfuddin Ahmed, they will go ahead, and we must help them without any confusion, without any conflict. We should work for our young ophthalmologists unitely. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for always being with us. Now I would like to invite Abdul Qadir sir. Sir, you're always with the youngsters, we know that. Sir, what's your word for us who's going to start their research activities soon?
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, thank you very much. It is a good evening, and good evening, everybody. I am very much delighted and happy to be with you in such a good and exceptional events organized by Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society and Sengupta Research Academy. Today, Professor Abha Hossain, my mentors, but I disrespect to her always, and my teachers, Professor Sharfuddin Ahmed and Professor Hazrat Ali, Professor Mizanur Rahman, and three very good learned speakers, Professor Shaukotara Shakur Mili, Sabyasachi Sengupta, and Shams Muhammad Taman. They have done very good job and encourage us as well as young ophthalmologists to do the research work in Bangladesh. And I like to say one important thing. What is important for the young ophthalmologist as an ophthalmologist? Number one is clinically and surgically be skilled in this ophthalmologist. And the second thing is how many publications you have. Two important things is clinical and surgical skilled as well as how many publications you have. This is the strength of a successful ophthalmologist. So clinical and surgical skillness is a qualitative indicator and publications is the quantitative indicator. So we need to achieve this, we need a basic degree and then clinical skillness and proper documentation. From this documentation, we going to for the research as well as ultimate result is research work and publication. So we have already achieved our basic degree and we are doing clinical work very sharply. And we need proper documentation. This is the lacking in Bangladesh. So we must go for the proper documentation and then go, that is publication. And another important thing I like to say, we are learn always and we are continuous to learn from each other. For that reason, today's webinar is very much important as because this is a good initiative in communication and collaboration with such a good institute that is Sengupta Research Institute, who is dedicated for the research. So Bangladesh Young Ophthalmologists has started their journey. I think it will be continued. It is a good and it is a rightly and time demanded good initiative. So I hope one day we will be very much efficient and we reach in research work in ophthalmology in Bangladesh. I hope everyone come forward and overcome these shortcomings. So we will achieve our target, we will achieve our goal. So thank you very much for inviting me. I again congratulate Sengupta Research Academy to collaborate with us. I always with the young ophthalmologist. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Hazrat Ali, sir. Sir, would you please say a few words for the young ophthalmologist here?
ধন্যবাদ ডক্টর মেহজাবা। আমি বাংলায় বলবো যেহেতু সবাই বাংলা বুঝে, এখানে সব্যসাচীও খুব ভালো বাংলা বুঝে এবং বলতে পারে, সুতরাং বাংলাই বলি। আসলে রিসার্চের কথা শুনলে কিন্তু আমাদের জুনিয়র ডাক্তার একটু ঘাবড়িয়ে যায় যে রিসার্চ কি। আসলে হচ্ছে কি, রিসার্চটার জন্য আপনার একটা লার্নিং কার্ভ আছে। সুতরাং লার্নিং কার্ভে আপনার প্রথম থেকে আপনাকে উপরে উঠতে হবে। আপনি যদি প্রথমেই একদম বড় বড় রিসার্চের রিপোর্ট গুলি দেখেন তাহলে আপনি ঘাবড়িয়ে যাবেন। আপনি প্রথমে ইউ ক্যান স্টার্ট উইথ এ কেস রিপোর্ট, দেন ইউ ক্যান গো উইথ কেস সিরিজ, then you can go a cross-sectional study, then go retrospectival study, then you can go for prospective study. আপনি যদি এখানে প্রথম থেকে এইসব স্টেপ বাই উঠেন শিখতে থাকেন, then you will be a good researcher. সুতরাং এখানে ভয় পাওয়ার কিছু নাই। দ্বিতীয়ত, আমি যদি এই ডক্টর সব্যসাচীর যদি আমরা যদি একাডেমিক যে পারফরমেন্স যদি আমরা দেখি, তার when he was a resident long ago in Pondicherry, ওই সময় ওনার রেসিডেন্ট থাকা অবস্থা ওনার 18টা পাবলিকেশন উনি পাবলিশ করেছেন বিভিন্ন জার্নালে। সুতরাং কেউ চাইলে যে ওই সময় মানে একজন রেসিডেন্টও চাইলে চেষ্টা করলে যে অনেক কাজ করতে পারে, অনেক রিসার্চ কাজ করতে পারে, এটাতে একটা জ্বলন্ত প্রমাণ। এবং আমার জুনিয়রদের আরো বলছি যে আপনার রিসার্চ ব্যাপারে আমাদের অনেকে সাহায্য করে। এখন আমাদের সময় এরকম সাহায্য করার কেউ ছিল না, কিন্তু বর্তমানে অনেকে সাহায্য করবে দেশে এবং বিদেশ থেকে। আমাদের আমি একাডেমি অফ অপথলমোলজি সভাপতি হিসেবে বলছি যে আমাদের একাডেমি অফ অপথলমোলজি ইজ রেডি, অলওয়েজ রেডি to help you in your research. OSB is ready, and now we have Young Ophthalmology Society is ready. Now we have got Dr. Sabyasachi, this is a association to help you. So you go forward, so everyone will help you. I think, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Now, what we have all been waiting for, I would like to invite Dr. Sengupta to say in details about the fellowship program, which is being offered by Sengupta Research Academy. Would you please go ahead?
Thanks, Maziba. So I thought basically I'll talk to you a little bit about what this fellowship will offer you, and we are promising so much about that these are the right steps and other things, and but then planning is one thing, but execution is, I think, an entirely different ball game. So I think this course will really help you broaden your research horizons. I think there is so much potential in Bangladesh in terms of unexplored potential. Really, I think there is so much of patient care which is happening at a very great, at a very high level, but a lot of the world doesn't really know so many things are happening, or so many different procedures are being done. So this is the right time for all of you to step in and show the world that that we can do so many different things. And then there are so many funding agencies. There is Seva Foundation, and there are Helen Keller organization, and there are so many different international organizations who will want to tie up with you and and help you with your research, and it can really take off. But your basic sort of training is, I think, extremely crucial. So I'll just quickly tell you about what Sengupta Research Academy does. So it was established not very long ago in 2016, with the sole goal of helping you research, do research and publications. And our efforts, I've formed this, and now I have a team of 6 people working with me. And what we do is we empower you to publish this. That is our final goal. So we offer e-learning courses and online fellowship that we are working together with, and then some services for statistics and manuscript preparation. And the most important part of what we are doing now is the fellowship, which is it's unique, interactive clinical research fellowship. It's totally online, and it is at your own pace. I'll talk a little bit more about this. Then there are if you want, you can only go for the lectures, which is only a small part of the fellowship, and there are actually now more than 2,000 students who have enrolled for this course. And then if you want to follow the Sengupta Research Academy YouTube or Facebook page, you will see a lot of interviews with some really eminent ophthalmologists and researchers in India. There are certain small lectures, and there are certain live sessions, and then there are many things which are coming up for collaborations where this is one of those. Then we are going to start establishing research grants, and then there are many things that are actually coming up. So this is just an overview of what we do. And the main focus of what we are doing today is collaborating with the Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, and it really gives me a great pleasure in launching this, and giving you a launch pad. I think that is the main sort of the whole concept with Dr. Ashraful and I have been brainstorming actually for the last 2 or 3 weeks, is that how do we give you the launch pad, or empower you to go ahead and spread your wings and do some great things. So this is really the overview. So this is really an innovative online research fellowship with, of course, a certification. It can be anyone from Bangladesh can apply for it, and whenever you want, you can apply for it. Though there is a quick discount which is going on now, and Dr. Ashraful can actually fill you in on that. And this is only online. There you can access it anytime on any device. There is a lifetime validity for all the course material that you will receive. You can, of course, do it at your own pace. And there's one live journal club session with me, which is a 1-hour session. And I think so far with the feedback that we've got from about 150 participants, so that is the best part of the whole fellowship. Like I said, there is a quick discount which is going on now if you want to enroll. And the payment, we are working on how the payment will be worked out, but currently we are going through the BYOS portal. And so what this really gives you, basically, in week 1 you will be learning the basics. So you will be watching some online lectures on clinical research, and you will learn about biostatistics. So a little bit about what I talk now. Then you will learn about literature review, you will learn about manuscript writing. So these are the basic steps that you will go through when you're doing any research. So first of all, how do you do it? So that is the first thing that you learn. Then you will learn how to design the result section of your paper. What we all do is we start with an Excel sheet, right? So we do a study, we have an Excel, and then we don't know how to progress further. So you will work with a dummy Excel sheet. So this Excel sheet is on ophthalmic manifestations of leukemia. So it has been kept relatively general for you to understand. Even a first year resident or even an MBBS student actually should be able to understand that. And then you will learn how to make the results section from for a publishable manuscript from that Excel. How do you actually make the results? So that is a a stepwise journey. So this designing the result section will teach you that. Then, like I said, we'll have a live journal club where we learn how to critique a published paper. I think that is really important. And what we will critique is a very large randomized, it's a multinational randomized trial which was published in JCRS from all across Europe. So about 900 patients were recruited, and you will almost not find even a small iota of doubt in how the data and how the paper is published. But let me tell you, it is manipulative. So we learn how to critique published papers. That is also very important for a researcher to do. And then finally you will learn how to write a complete paper, including the introduction, the methods, the results, the discussion, and the references. So Dr. Mili has already given us a quick overview of all these, but in a structured way. So you will be given the results and tables and figures of a paper of diabetic macular edema, and then you will be asked to write the introduction, methods, results, and of course a gold standard paper will then be provided to you, so that you know how you have done. So this is the website. This is the homepage of Central Research Academy, where you can actually go and explore what all we've been doing. So this is the e-learning section that you will be going to, and these are the overview of the lectures that are available. So the first module is an overview where we talk about introduction, and then why do research and what's so many more things than just publications. So a lot of things that you can do. Whatever you want, you can actually achieve. So that is something that is there. Then there's a quick lecture on my story and how I went through residency and then fellowship. They're all extremely busy, clinically heavy programs that I was involved in, and yet I somehow manufactured some time. So there are some tips on how you can do it as well. Then we look at literature review, where first we start with how to choose a research topic. I think that is a big Achilles, where like Dr. Mili was saying, that the research question is not formed well. Then how do you actually choose a research question? So this lecture will give you at least 7-8 different ideas on how you can zero in on what has not been done, or how do you choose a good research topic. Then of course you use PubMed for your search. So an overview and a PubMed search with an example on endophthalmitis, and then the different study designs. So we know that there are prospective, there are retrospective, and there are case control, there are cohorts, there are a lot of different kinds, but then nothing ties them all together. So this lecture will actually tell you what is what, and how to choose the best study design for your study. So that is the literature review. Then of course there is a module on biostatistics, where I spoke about a little bit about these things. So what is a variable? How do you make an Excel sheet? I think that is also very important. And I very hardly see I hardly see Excel sheets which are very well designed. So how to design your Excel sheet? Some basic biostatistics. So we've talked about it today, about basic, so descriptives and analytic statistics, some advanced biostatistics, and then finally how you communicate with a statistician, I think is very critical in terms of how you roll out your results well. Then there is a module on manuscript writing, where first thing we learn is how to choose a journal which is a best fit for your own paper. And then I give you a whole array of different questions you should answer to yourself before you choose a journal. Then how to write original articles, case reports, and others. So it's always good to start with small and then go large. But then there are certain ways of writing these. There are certain general tips for writing, and the best lecture in this whole thing is about using checklists to write your pieces, right? So that is something that you will learn. And then there is a reference on rejections, the module on rejections, so that you don't make the same mistakes. Because I've been an author, I've been a reviewer, and then I have been on the editorial board of the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology for now 3 years. So I know the common mistakes that are made by budding authors. So first I will talk about what a reviewer wants, and then common causes of rejections, and then so that you don't make those same mistakes. And then we talk about some reference managers like Mendeley and Zotero, which will make your job much easier. And just again a quick overview. So step 1 is basically gain your knowledge. Step 2 is make results. Step 3 is journal club with me. Step 4 is manuscript writing. So this is just the overall view of what we'll be doing in this fellowship. So this is essentially what I wanted to take you through, and I hope that this fellowship will really give you a good launch pad into doing bigger and better things in years to come.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so much.
Sengupta. And I think this is a wonderful program and a wonderful program for all ophthalmologists, as in how to start with research. So I think it's so great that we. So I think we have very many youngsters with us. So if anyone has any questions, we already got some questions beforehand, but I would like to ask here if anyone has any questions for Dr. Sabyasachi, please do ask. And before then, I can just go ahead. I had like 2 or 3 questions coming in. So one was that what was the best way to choose a good research topic? Would you please answer that?
Yes, Madiba. So, you know, I've gone through the whole process and have made a lot of mistakes in choosing a research topic. And but I think that is sort of the the most important question that you ask before you even start is is this doable? Is this feasible? Can I do it? And will this make any impact? So it's important to choose that topic. There are 2 or 3 caveats. There is a whole lecture which is dedicated to this, but I'll quickly tell you that first and foremost, you can actually tell PubMed, the search engine, you can tell PubMed, I'm interested in this topic and please send me all papers which are published on this topic every Saturday at 5 p.m. And trust me, PubMed will send you everything that is published. Say for example, I'm a retina specialist and I'm interested in diabetic macular edema. So I tell PubMed I'm interested in diabetic macular edema and say ranibizumab or say aflibercept. So everything related to that will come to my mailbox, right? So I can open that up and I can see what is happening. You might read 1 or 2 and then you might say, oh, this is something that I could do as well. The second way of finding good research topics is by subscribing to eTable of Contents. You can go to major journals, say JAMA Ophthalmology or Ophthalmology, American Journal, British Journal, and you will find somewhere you subscribe to our eTable of Contents, and then every month whatever is published in that journal will actually come straight to your mailbox, and there will be a link for the free abstract. The whole paper may not be free, but even if you're reading say 5 journal contents, you are actually going through 50 topics, right? Every month you are brushing through 50 topics, and if you have that bent of mind, and now hopefully after you have this training, you will automatically be inclined to pick 1 or 2 every month, right? So that will possibly set you going. So these are a couple of simple things that can be done, and there are many others that the lecture will also, of course, tell you.
Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, I would like to thank Professor Mizan sir. He has a very busy day today. Still, he joined us. Sir, thank you, sir, for joining. I think he has another meeting starting now, so he has to
Madam, with the permission of Chairperson, Professor Sharfuddin Ahmed, and with the permission of Abha Madam.
Yes.
If you give me permission, I want to leave, Madam.
Oh, sure,
Sorry.
sure. Please. I know that you are the president of Glaucoma Society and EC meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you.
In spite
Thank you
of
very
your
much.
busy schedule, you have joined, so thank you very much. And you are
Thank you,
permitted.
Sharfuddin bhai. Apology. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
So one last question to Dr. Sengupta. So I think all the youngsters, they are also very busy. So how long would it take to do this fellowship, and how much weekly, how much should that person spend on this fellowship? Would you please answer that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So overall, the fellowship goes over a 4-week period, and there are 4 basic steps. So each step takes a week. Now, you would overall need about 2 to 3 hours in the whole week. So, you can spend all the about 2.5 hours if you're fast. You can finish it in 2.5 hours. So, it's about 2.5 hours every week. So it's not even half an hour every day. So if you find one evening where you can dedicate 2 hours, your job for the whole week is done. So it is not really intensive. And the other thing is that you can also do it at your own pace. If you say don't have time, you can do it over 3 months. You can do it over 6 months as well. Though that momentum will not really come. So it is better that you stick to the 4-week time period, but then there is no compulsion. You can actually do it at your own pace. Roughly 2 to 3 hours a week should be more than enough.
Thank you so much. Now we will go over to our chief guest, our madam. Thank you, madam. You are always with us, and madam will now name the top scorers of the Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society members, as well as the winners of the BIOS and SRA quiz competition. Madam, would you please go ahead?
Thank you so much, Majiba. And today's chairman, Professor Sharfuddin Ahmed, our leader, President OSB, Honorable Guest of Honor, Professor Hajrut Ali, Professor Kadir, Abdul Kadir, and Professor Mijan has left us for another meeting. The most powerful and the attractive three speaker, Dr. Shobbosati Sengupta, Professor Milli, and Dr. Noman. Really excellent. I will go later on. Before that, I should announce the winner's name. Otherwise, they are eagerly waiting that who will be the first, second, third, and the top 10. I should say top 10 first, Majiba, or the first, second, third?
Top 10, madam.
The top 10 first?
First top 10. Okay, will you give me in the screen? Right. There are so many applicants and so many has already submitted for the quiz program, but we will only declare the top 10. And among the top 10, I should mention that first, second, and third, of course, if it is properly screened, or if it is not properly, it has properly done, but as because the EC member and the office bearer has omitted, so I would like to mention their name also, as they are the scorer in first, second, third. So let me say that Dr. Muhammad Ibn Abdul Malik, he's the top 10 first, but Dr. Bipul Kumar D. Sarkar, he has also submitted the quiz and he stood second, but as because he is the Secretary General of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, so Sengupta's Academy, according to rule, and they have decided not to keep their name in the first, second, third, as because they are the office bearer. Is it, Dr. Shobbosati? Yes.
Madam, that's right.
That's right. So it's of course very inspiring for all the young ophthalmologists that the office bearer are not, they are attending, but they are not taking the main position. So this is a very good thing for the Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, and in collaboration Sengupta's also, this is the same rule. So number 3 is Dr. Ashraful Haq Hridoy. He was also, these three was the first, second, and third, but Bipul and Ashraful Haq Hridoy, you know that he is the president of Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, and these two person is the main active inspiration for all the young ophthalmologists of Bangladesh. Then comes Dr. S.F. Farjana Aziz, Dr. Mahfuza Rahman Khan Moli, Dr. Shara Rahman, Dr. Muhammad Iftikhar Iqbal, Dr. Sharmin Ahmed, Dr. Ruhi Mannan, Dr. Afzal Mahfuzullah. I would like to thanks all and congratulations to all the top 10 for your scoring and for your good work in this quiz program. So let me announce the name of the first, Dr. Muhammad Ibn Abdul Malik. He stood first in this quiz program, BIOS and Sengupta Research Academy online quiz winner. So let us give a big hand to them. Second, Dr. S.F. Farjana Aziz, Bangladesh Eye Trust Hospital, and Ibn Abdul Malik is from Ispahani Islamia Eye Institute and Hospital. third two. This is very good thing. Dr. Shoboshachi, thank you, as because
Thank you, madam.
both are scoring the same, but still you have given that scoring is same. So third position, Dr. Mahfuzur Rahman Khan Molly, same age, Dhaka, and Dr. Shara Rahman, Ispahani Islamia Eye Institute. So congratulations, my heartiest congratulations to you all. Right. It is a great opportunity, really it's a great opportunity to be here within this excellent program. As because the Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society, Shoboshachi, do you know the age of this Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society? It is only 2 months, 3 days. Only 2 months, 3 days. And within these 2 months, 3 days, they have achieved a lot. They have lot of members and they are very much interested to inspire all the young ophthalmologists to come forward and do the research work, do the fellowship work. And you now, Dr. Shoboshachi, along with these bios, I think all the young star, all the bright star of Bangladesh will join and doing this fellowship program of research. This is very good that only 4 weeks,
Yes.
they will get one certificate also. And I have seen the course, first week, second week, third week, fourth week, how you run this. This is very important and this is very interesting. So now comes, I would like to say a few things about the speakers, as because Dr. Noman, he has started in so nicely. I always tell to all the young generation, all the youngsters, all the young ophthalmologists that you have your hand during your post-graduation, either master's, you are doing the thesis, in fellowship, you are doing your dissertation. So start from that. That is the main book, your own work in the thesis and also in the dissertation. So make paper from there. And Dr. Noman has started that. He has, his dissertation topic was outcome of probing for congenital nasolacrimal duct obstruction for different age group. And he has told one thing, I am really surprisingly know this thing, that he's at that time very much embarrassing. He didn't know how to proceed. Why, Noman? You have your guide. You have your guide. Your guide will assist you. But yes, it is very difficult, as because he is the student, might be not always possible to go to the professor and ask all the nominal thing, but at that time it is not possible. But this time it is very possible, as because there are so many scope, as the young ophthalmologist bios is collaborate with Sengupta's Academy. So it will be very, very fruitful and you will be easily learn the research and you learn how to do research. And every speaker has told that skilled, and also the honorable guest of honor, that you should be very skilled in clinical and also in surgical. So that will be the main thing, main input, that you can write the research paper and how you will do. In that, Noman has already started his first dissertation, and then one after another how he proceeds. And it is very interesting that ultimately he is now the invited speaker of APO, SARC Academy, WOC, and all. So as he has will, he can achieve everything. So you can also, as you have started now from this quiz program, the person who have started the quiz program, attended the quiz program and stood this top 10, and the others result I have also seen, not bad, but you should carry on, you should go forward with this score, and you will get greater achievement, and you will make yourself a very bigger height. Next, come to Professor Mili. Professor Mili has really, she is so nicely elaborate all the program, all the thing from starting from the subject choice methods, and all step by step how you will do the research. This is very important and very interesting that she has explained why she has choose the research and what is the importance in future. Importance is very, very important in future, and she is getting all the importance now in her real life. So this is the thing that relevant study, publication, net search, basic knowledge, extensive literature review, rationale of the study in this way, hypothesis, objective, and all the part she has said in so elaborately. I think everybody is very much benefited, and this if you follow this, you will be in a very main line, main track. You will not divert anywhere. You will go slowly and steadily and go forward, and you can do the research. This is all to say about Mili's, that for this beginner, this is a very, very good presentation for all of you. And Dr. Shobbosati, he said about the biostatistics, which is very important for the research part. And this part, Bangladesh young ophthalmologists are lacking, but I think now it will nothing, any hard thing. This will be a very clear conception, and Shobbosati has given very clear perception to all of you, and how you will start that. You can just enter into his website, that is the Sengupta's Academy, Research Academy website, and you will be in a very good position. I think the fellowship certification is very important. You can achieve that one, and you can learn. That is the learning, main learning institute. And I'm very glad, I'm very much proud that Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology has such a collaboration with Shobbosati. And Professor Hazrat Ali has told that during residency program, he has 18 publication. 18 publication. It is imagination that how it is possible during residency 18 publication, as because there are some criteria. Just few days back, I was in Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University to just take one interview, professor's interview for promotion. And in that, that is the criteria, how many publication you have for being the professor. And that is below 18, below 18. So it is very good thing. That is Shobbosatiর মনের ভিতরে রিসার্চ 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 এমন ভাবে ধারণ করে সেই ছোট্ট বয়স থেকেই ধারণ করে শুরু করেছে অপথলমোলজি, যে রেসিডেন্সিতে 18 এবং নাও ইট ইজ কাম আপ টু 85। সো যাদের মনে এই থাকবে, আকর্ষণ থাকবে যে আমি এটা অ্যাচিভ করব, আমি এটা করবই, যেটা প্রফেসর মিলি বলছে যে ম্যান্ডেলানের কথা, না করা পর্যন্ত এটা বোঝা যাবে না যে পারবো না, করবো না। তো কাজেই আমরা যদি ফলো করি, ডেফিনেটলি আমার মনে হয় আমাদের যারা বাচ্চারা আছে খুবই ট্যালেন্টেড বাচ্চা তারা, এবং খুব ভালো মতো একটু ভোকাল হতে হবে, একটু ইন্টারঅ্যাক্টিভ হতে হবে। ইন্টারঅ্যাক্টিভের জন্য অলরেডি আমরা পেয়ে গেছি সব্যসাচীকে, কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় দিস ইজ ভেরি ভেরি গুড থিং। আর বায়োসকে আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাবো from my heart that this is a very good session, very good session. Professor Abdul Qadir, আমাদের Secretary General OSB, he has said যে কি কি করে তোমরা আগাতে পারবা, কারণ এই প্রফেসর আব্দুল কাদের এবং প্রফেসর শরফুদ্দিন আমাদের ওএসবি এর প্রেসিডেন্ট এবং সেক্রেটারি জেনারেল, যারা একদম আমব্রেলার মতো সত্যি সত্যি এই সোসাইটিটাকে, এত বাচ্চা মাত্র 2 মাস বয়স, এখনো তো এদের সেরকম কিছু করার অবস্থা আসে নাই, কিন্তু they have shown us that they can do everything. And this guardian, the Society of Bangladesh, Ophthalmological Society of Bangladesh, has guided in that pathway, so they can do everything. So thank you all. Thanks again to Professor Mili, Dr. Noman, and Dr. Shobosachi. Really, your experience, sharing your experience, sharing all the things you earn in Sengupta's Research Academy, and collaborate it with Bangladesh Young Ophthalmology Society. The great achievement, continue it. Don't make it just one day session and then off, not that. Please go ahead. And I think Dr. Ashraful Haq, Dr. Bipul, they are the President and Secretary General of this society, very active, very energetic, and always trying to do, asking us in the meeting, they are asking, Madam, Sir, whether we will proceed, whether we will do this thing, that thing. So very encouraging. So I think they will do better and everybody will gain, not only this committee, office bearer or other members, but all the young ophthalmology of Bangladesh. They will learn and they will make themselves able to go forward, not national, but international. International is so, Professor Sharfuddin always tell that global village, like that. We can, sitting in my home now, I can talk with Shobosachi, and just tomorrow we have SARC Academy of Ophthalmology, another webinar. In that we can talk to all SARC countries, every member of the SARC countries. And just 2 months back, APO Council meeting were there. So vast Asia Pacific area, and we are seeing everybody is so thinking that all are in Bangladesh, sitting in the same room in like that. So we are very limited, and it is very, very interesting session. I would like to thank Majiba, moderator, so nicely moderate every times, yes. And also Dr. Ashraful Haq, Dr. Bipul again, and all the other members. Don't think that Madam is mentioning only Ashraf, Bipul and Majiba, not that. All the members and all the participants of this quiz program. And thank you so much, Dr. Shobosachi, again for collaboration, and Professor Sharfuddin, our chairman of this session. He will address the chairman address, and he's also, you know, that he is the regional secretary of Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology. He's the vice president of SAARC Academy of Ophthalmology, and he will go forward and to make him more, that is from vice president to president, from regional secretary to next step in APO also. With these few words, thank you so much. Thank you, Millie. Thank you, Noman. Thank you, Kadir, Professor Hajrot, and all the talented boy and girl. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam. And you are an inspiration to us, because every time we have you with us, we are inspired to do something bigger and better. Thank you, ma'am, for always being with us. Before we go to the chairperson of the session, we will hear a few words from our winners, because around 60 people has entered for the quiz, but unfortunately only 40 could submit. And among this 40, we have these 4 winners. Dr. Molly couldn't join us today because she has emergency duty. So I would like to start with Dr. Sarah. So Sarah, would you please say a few words?
Majiba, am I audible?
Yes,
you're
you
audible.
Are. Thank you. Actually, it's a very great opportunity, and I'm totally very happy because all of my teachers are here. Professor Abdul Qadir sir, Professor Abha madam, Professor Mili madam. They are our teachers who always encourage us to do some research work, and especially Sharfuddin sir. I just want to share a little bit of experience of me. In this year, I submitted a paper to American Journal of Cornea and Refractive Society. Actually, it was it takes a lot of courage to submit a paper to that, because I am very beginner at research. So obviously the paper got mailed to Sengupta Research Academy to get some professional help. So at that time, because they're very much popular at the internet, but it was so costly. Actually, I was having trouble with the biostatistics part. SAR is there, so I'm sharing this. And then I thought if it would be very easier, if it is a little bit accessible to us, like the young ophthalmologist. Okay, so then these bios formed, and then they took these steps to go a collaboration with the Sengupta Research Academy and give us the opportunity to do some research work. So all I want to tell that thank you to BIOS and SRA for giving us the opportunity, and thank you Shobbosati sir, thank you so much. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I will go to Dr. Farzana. Dr. Farzana, would you please share your comments?
Assalamu alaikum and alhamdulillah for the second position. I'm not so popular to our teachers, but this is a very good platform for me to introduce our teacher. I'm very grateful to BIOS for this opportunity, and I have no words to say something else.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farzana. As we were saying, that this is a platform, BIOS is a platform where the youngsters can come up and the youngsters can show their work. So now we will go on to the winner, Dr. Mohammad Ibn Abdul Malik. Dr. Malik, would you please say something?
Malik,
Malik,
unmute
unmute.
yourself. Malik.
I think he's having network
Okay,
problem. Dr. Malik, can you hear us?
Malik,
can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry, I had some connectivity issues. Sorry. Yeah, I hope I'm audible now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a privilege to have won this opportunity for a research fellowship. In fact, the last presentation I was doing about my research journey, I think I mentioned on whether you need formal training for research. And I actually think it's important because we really don't have a very good idea of what we're doing. we have done some things, but I think if we had an organized base, I think we could do a lot more. So that's why I'm very excited about this opportunity. I hope it will add a lot to my repertoire. And again, I want to thank the BIOS and all my senior teachers for this unique opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we will move on to the chairperson of the session, Professor Sharfuddin sir. Sir has been with us from the very beginning, and in every step he's guiding us to go forward. So we will hear something from sir, then we will conclude this workshop.
Okay, thank you. This is the opportunity to thank all the ophthalmologists of Bangladesh who are under 40. As because I remember myself that when I was under 40, there was none to give me this type of opportunity for quiz competition and getting some prizes. And you see, first of all, I will thank all the 40 ophthalmologists who participated. I'm thanking them as because of participation. And out of 40, 10 are here who was declared. And as because you are the leader, you are not getting the prizes. So the leaders, I thank them, especially as because you have avoided not to take, as because of the rule of Sengupta Research Academy. And another thing, the four, Malek, Farjana, Molly, and Sarah, they have got the prizes. I thank them first of all. Now, this is the forum for the research work. We have our guardian, Professor Abha Hussain, our chief guest of this webinar. She is with us, and she will be with us in all the activities of the ophthalmologist of Bangladesh, though maybe more than 40, maybe less than 40. All ophthalmologists will be guided by her. She is with us, Professor Hazrat Ali, Professor Dr. Mizanur Rahman, Professor Kader. They are with us. Not the least is the topmost, Dr. Sabyasachi Sengupta, who, when was a resident, he had 18 publications. Thanks to Sabyasachi, who have joined with us, and he is the youngest researcher of India who have lot of publications in the peer-reviewed journal and the international journals. I hope Sengupta Research Academy and Young Ophthalmologist of Bangladesh, in collaboration, I will see in the next year, lot of young ophthalmologists of Bangladesh will be able to publish their articles in some of the international journals, including All India Ophthalmic Journals, Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, and also American, European Journal, as because if anything is there lacking, I hope before submitting, you will just consult with Sengupta Research Academy. They will help you and hope it will be published in different index journal of the world. What about the research? I think after 5 years, some of our young ophthalmologists will give us some idea that this drug, which is being used in other countries, that is not needed in my country. These are the drugs for glaucoma. This should not be used. I had one opportunity with Professor Humayun Kabir. In the 80s, I have a paper, what are the backlog of cataract in Bangladesh? And still, I think that is being noted in different journals, that 8 lakh and per year, 80,000 new edition in cataract. I had a paper with Professor Humayun Kabir. And also, I had interest when first in 90s, there was a paper in dry eye, autologous serum was given. And I had the opportunity from my blood bank. I took the autologous serum of the patient and I used that to the patient. That was one of my research work. My ophthalmic research forum secretary, Shams Muhammad Noman, when was telling that he had a paper in Busan, Korea. At that time in 2016, I got the award, Distinguished Service Award in Busan, Korea from APAO. And also I got from Singapore the Prevention of Blindness Award. So how we got it? As because we had the opportunity to give the papers in international conferences and in international journals, and the leaders of the international ophthalmology forums, they know us, and we talk to them and we get some inspiration. So you, the young ophthalmologist, you are what you are to do. Remember, plagiarism is another thing. Don't do anything which is published in different articles. You are copying and pasting. Stop it. So what you will do, remember, this plagiarism will make in such a way that one thing you are to remember, that it is very expensive to earn the trust, but it is so easy within a second, it will be lost. So during research work, don't do anything which is harmful for your publication. Another thing, Sengupta is with us. In this way, our seniors, Professor Abha Hussain, Professor Hazrat Ali, Mijanur Rahman, Professor Kader, they are with you. All young ophthalmologists, remember, don't feel alone. There is always someone who will help you silently caring. These are the things you have to remember. And you will find out the new facts and new conclusions from your documentation, from your data collection, from your data analysis. And I think the hard thing, like anatomy, biostatistics was told so easily by Sengupta. I thank him, and Professor Shaukat Shakur Mili and Shams Muhammad Noman, when they have told about the research work. I hope young ophthalmologists, you have learned a lot from it. And along with this, Professor Hazrat Ali, Professor Mijanur Rahman, Professor Abha Hussain, Professor Kader, they have also gave you some advices like documentation is a must, training is a must, skillness is a must. How will you enrich your knowledge? By searching your finger, net, and other PubMed journals that will enrich you. So I will not get much more time. I will finish within very short period, as because Abha Madam has given thanks to all. I'm thanking the winners, thanking the researchers, and all the guests, including Professor Abha Hussain and Dr. Shobbosati Sengupta. With these few words, thank you very much. This is an excellent webinar. I thank all the young ophthalmologists who organized this type of webinar. I hope in future, this type of webinar will enrich you academically and in publication of journals and in research work. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Our General Secretary, Dr. Bipul, due to some technical error, he had to leave. So I would like to invite Dr. Ashraf to say a few words and conclude this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Maziba. Before I conclude, Dr. Shobbosati Sengupta wants to have few talk. Dr. Shobbosati, are you online?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Please.
আগে আপনার সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ জানাই যে আমার সাথে আপনারা জুড়তে কনসেন্ট দিয়েছেন আর I'm very happy that we are taking this opportunity, and I'm so thankful to Dr. Ashraful, first of all, that he has really brainstormed on this and how we can do this better and how we can take this forward. And Dr. Abha Hussain, madam, আপনার talk শুনে আমি অনেক inspired হয়ে গেছি. So I think I will try and do this more and more, and I'm always open to all of you. And Sharafuddin sir, আপনার journey has actually been quite inspirational, and I think there's so much to learn from you, and I think I will interview you for my series very shortly because of all that you have been doing. And Abdul Kader sir, আপনার talk was very inspirational. The caveat that you should also look at being a good surgeon. I think that is first and foremost. তারপরে research হবে, and I think research questions start from the clinic first and foremost. So if you're good at clinical thinking, how we can do better for my patient, it's just an additional step that we take. আমি এটা করছি কিন্তু এটা ভালো হচ্ছে না, কেন হচ্ছে না? What can I do better? I think that is sort of the biggest inspiration, the motivation. That is the right motivation to do. I think from your talk, I think it was very clear. And congratulations to all the winners. I think it was it was a great show, and getting 17 out of 20 is no joke.
Yes.
And so that, yeah, so the person, I mean, I think 2 or 3 people got that many marks, and yeah, people who have got the
Wi-Fi is disturbing.
We have lost him.
I think we have lost him.
Yes. Okay.
So at the concluding, আমিও একটু বাংলায় বলি এখন। ধন্যবাদ ডক্টর সব্যসাচীকে। এই টোটাল কাজগুলো আমরা গত 2 সপ্তাহের উপর ধরে প্রত্যেক দিন আমরা দুজন বসে এই কাজটি করেছি, এবং শুধুমাত্র ইয়াং অপথলমোলজিস্টদের কিভাবে একসাথে করা যায়, ইয়াং অপথলমোলজিস্টদের কিভাবে রিসার্চ ওয়ার্কের জন্য বেনিফিটেড করানো যায়, সেজন্যই আমাদের এই প্রচেষ্টা। আর যেহেতু কথা হয়েছে ডক্টর সব্যসাচী এবং সেনগুপ্ত রিসার্চ একাডেমি বাংলাদেশ ইয়াং অপথলমোলজিস্ট সোসাইটির সাথে থাকবে। আমাদের কিন্তু এখন মেম্বার মাত্র 100 জন। আমরা আশা করি যে ইয়াং অপথলমোলজিস্ট থেকে টোটাল ওএসবির যারা 40 বছর বয়সের নিচে আছে, হয়তো বা 150 থেকে 160 জন মেম্বার আছে, অচিরেই সবাই আমাদের মেম্বার হয়ে যাবেন। আর যারাই রিসার্চ ওয়ার্ক করতে চান, শুধু বায়োসের মেম্বার না, যারাই রিসার্চ ওয়ার্ক করতে চান, ডক্টর সব্যসাচী আছেন আমাদের সাথে, সেনগুপ্ত রিসার্চ একাডেমি আছে আমাদের সাথে যে কোনো সাহায্যের জন্য। এবং আমরা অবশ্যই আশা করব যে এই যে আমাদের প্যান্ডেমিক সিচুয়েশনের পরে যখন হলো আমরা একটি নিউ নর্মাল বা অ্যাটলিস্ট ফিজিক্যাল মিটে আসতে পারবো, ডক্টর সেনগুপ্ত রিসার্চ একাডেমি এবং সব্যসাচীকে নিয়ে বাংলাদেশ ইয়াং অপথলমোলজি সোসাইটি একটি ফিজিক্যাল কনফারেন্স করবে, যেখানে আমরা স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্স এবং রিসার্চ রিলেটেড কথা বলবো। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে। এবং
আশরাফ, আমার মনে হয় সব্যসাচী আবার এসছে, একটু শেষ করুক।
জি ম্যাডাম, ডক্টর সব্যসাচী।
না ম্যাডাম, I was almost
তোমার
done.
শেষ করো একটু, আর একটু শেষ করে দাও।
হ্যাঁ, আমি just বলছিলাম যে thank you so much again, and I hope all of you will take this opportunity and enroll and like I said, go places. So so many things can happen. You may get an email saying, oh, I read this paper of yours and I'm from Korea and I want to collaborate with you. And the funding agencies may write to you saying, oh, this is something that we're looking at and only you are doing this kind of work and we want to fund you. So many lot of surprises will come your way. So just put in the effort, and I wish you all the best, and I hope this course will help you to reach your dreams. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And with the permission of the chair, we will conclude the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, সব্যসাচী।
সবাইকে শুভরাত্রি।
Thank you. শুভরাত্রি।
সব্যসাচী এতক্ষণ ইংরেজিতে বলেছিলাম, এবার বাংলায়।
তোমাদের সবাইকে
নিশ্চয়ই।
ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে, ধন্যবাদ।
সবাইকে, উইনারদের কংগ্রেচুলেশন।